I live in the best city, in the best country in the world, so I'm happy to be back in Brisbane. I say properties, we're not an island. We're influenced by wars. You get what the Houthis are doing with cargo ships. At the moment, well, that increases shipping costs. So that affects us, affects CPI. I think, what is it? Something like 70% of the population in the world are having elections this year. It's the most ever. So I think about those things. The banking situation in United States is just terrible. After GFC, that the major banks didn't get involved in as much commercial property finance. The smaller mid-tier banks over there, I think if they're all forced into a situation now that they would be bankrupt. In America, you have to have something like 30% of your assets for a bank in treasury bonds. Well, the Silicon Valley Bank that went down, that was their problem. Is they had all that money in T-bonds, and when interest rates have gone up, your treasury bonds were worth like 70 cents in the dollar. So they've lost billions. Now that's the case with most of the banks in America. They would be effectively bankrupt if the US Treasury got serious about it. Now they can't get serious about it because you can't have all the banks going broke. But what's happening with the commercial property loans? They're just not refinancing them. You had a New York bank a month or so ago. Their share price was down 35% in a day, and it's kept going down since. I was recently on a trip over to Ho Chi Minh. We've got a modular housing factory over there we're involved with, where we're bringing modular housing into Northern Australia. That's a story for another day. There's plenty to talk about there. But I ran into some of the leading commercial agents at the Brisbane airport, and then Singapore coming back. And they're over there trying to get Singaporean buyers interested in Brisbane commercial property. Normally at this stage in a cycle, you tend to get the Malaysians, for some reason, come in very early, and the Singaporeans. And they all said that at this stage of the cycle, they're buying in New York and London. That's where the big discounts are. Because our interest rates didn't go as high here, ours isn't as bad. There's certainly the last week we've seen a lot of reasonably high quality property hit the market at massive discounts, but the bigger discounts overseas. But as far as the States, we're just not a buyer over there. Of the properties we bought, we've averaged over 19% internal rate of return over 13 years. We don't need to go to the States to make money. Westfield in I think it was Los Angeles, handed back the keys to the bank on a $500 million shopping centre. Just gave the keys back to them and just walked away. Now, I think, is it Cbus, certainly one of our large super funds. It was in the Fin Review very recently. They've done the same over there. So I think it's a crime and everything else in California, but in New York, the money that they need to spend, I think they only had the property 21 months, something like that. The money that you need to spend to bring them up to the current green requirements, they just can't justify doing it. So it's exciting times, but when people have problems, that creates opportunities for others. So this will be an absolutely fantastic year for buying, not a good year for selling. And I think this will certainly be the best year for well over a decade.